If you like this sound, stay tuned. I'll give you the secret. So, as a bass player, I've been, I think, all my life looking for a sound, looking for a good sound that sounds natural, you can get that with the acoustic bass usually, but when you amplify it, it changes. If you put a pickup, it sounds too bright, too thin, too metallic. If you put a mic, you get feedback problems. So then you have this kind of bass, which is the electric upright, and they always have some kind of problem also with the amplification, either too dark or too bright, or it's always so. What I'm gonna do in this video is I'm gonna mix two pickups. There are different kinds of pickups. There are the first of all magnetic pickup, which is the electric bass, and they sound nice and punchy, but you lose frequency range. You don't. The magnetic pickups have kind of like a middle range. Some of them have more, some of them have less, but still a small frequency range. So you get nice mid-range, nice mid-bass, and some highs, but you never get the really high frequency or the really low frequency that you find in an acoustic bass. Then we have contact pickups, or piezo. Please don't say piezo unless you're talking about a pie, some kind of banana nut. It's called piezo, and it means pressure. The pickup, when it's pressed against the wood, it gives you the sound. If you press it too little, you don't get a sound. If you press it too much, you don't get a sound. It's always that. It has to vibrate, but it has to have some kind of pressure. Now there's a new system. It's called the optical pickup. Optical pickup is a LED that gives a light, and then it has a receptor, and the vibration of the light is amplified by some kind of system, and it gives you the frequency. And it's not a synth, it's the real transducer. It's just the light gives you the frequency, and it's converted to electronics, and I don't know, don't ask me, I'm not a scientist, but that's gonna be another video coming up, because I am gonna meet with this guy from TAF pickups, and I'm gonna try to see if I can bring the camera there when I'm talking to him and trying my stuff, so I can do a video. I'm gonna try, I don't know, it depends on them, but that's the next video. It's gonna be the optical pickup. Let's see. They're expensive, and I don't know if they work. We're gonna see. So sound is basically like colors. You have from white to black. There's a whole bunch of different tonalities and all that. So it's just like a picture or a video. When you have certain amp, it's gonna give you a different sound. Even the day, even the weather. It's like you can have the same bass. If you hear Jaco Pastorius on the CDs, and then you hear live recordings, and then you hear another CD, and even though he has the same jazz bass, he had the fretless jazz bass, it sounded a little different. It never sounded completely the same. The same thing happens with the acoustic basses. You try one bass and then try another bass. Even though they're similar, they're not the same. And sometimes with the weather, they change. They change pretty dramatically, because the strings, I don't know, they get kind of muffled or they get more bright when it's dry. The action goes down. It's a whole bunch of things that I don't want to go into in this video. The main problem that we have as bass players, it's the feedback. If you have an upright, you get a good sound, nice and fat, and as soon as you turn it up or the sound system, goes up, the sound is ruined. So you're forced to really play almost like at acoustic level, which is very soft. Sometimes you can't do that because it's a festival, at the beach or something, and you need to have some kind of loud sound. So that being said, the best way to record in a studio that I have found is mixing a pickup, a little bit of the pickup, and a mic, which is in a booth that is soundproof. That's usually the best way to get a nice bass sound and some compression and maybe EQ, and that's it. You get the nice acoustic sound. But live, we don't have the luxury of having a booth, unless you want to carry a room around. So what we need to do is we need to find some kind of system that sounds natural, but it can stand the loudness and not being feeding back all the time. This bass is a Carruthers. Carruthers had a system that it sounded okay when it was solo. The bass sounded really, like deep and upright and kind of hollow. But as soon as you mixed it with the band, I never got a good sound, so I didn't like that system. So what I did is I completely changed the system for this bass. And this is the secret that I'm gonna give you. What I'm doing is I'm mixing two pickups instead of a mic, because mics always gives you problems with the feedback and stuff. I'm mixing two different pickups. The David Gage is a pickup that is really dark, doesn't have any highs, it's just bass, boom, 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 boom. And it's okay for certain styles like salsa or maybe ballads, whatever. And then there's another pickup called the Fishman. Fishman, it's the opposite. It's really bright and clanky. It's like really metallic. And that's also a problem. So what I did is I mixed the David Gage with the Fishman. And the reason why I haven't done this before is because a friend of mine, which is a technician, he told me, no, don't mix pickups. Bass pickups tend to cancel certain frequencies when you mix them. And even though that might be, he's not lying to me, that might be true technically, maybe that canceling sounds good, I don't know. It's just, I don't see a problem with that. Just like when you mix the mic and a pickup, if you mix the same kind of pickup, yeah, maybe you have a problem there. But once you have a different sound completely, usually it works the other way. It complements one another. So the sound of the David Gage that I'm gonna play now, let me put my headphones on. So this is the sound of the David Gage. It's a deeper sound. Now, of course, I'm using a preamp. I'm using a Fishman preamp with the bass boosted, so I want it really deep. I just don't need any highs. Highs are flat, and the bass is boosted. Now there's this pickup. which is the Fishman. Of course, it would need a preamp too, but since I'm using it for only the highs, I don't need to use the preamp because I would have to use 2 preamps. So in this case, I'm using the Fishman just straight, and I want that clanky mid-range and highs to mix it with the David Gauge. That way I get a nice deep sound which emulates a little bit of the box of the acoustic bass, and I get a little bit of definition and more mids and highs from the Fishman. So this is what I of course I'm boosting the bass, like I said again, not only on the preamp but also in the board. The board is going straight. You're listening to the straight sound from the pickup, okay, not through the amp. If you put it through the amp, it's going to be better because then you can shape it a little more in the amp and make it sound really nice, and the presence and everything is going to be nice and clear. But this way is like if you were going directly to the soundboard. So that was with both pickups, and the previous one was with only the David Gauge. I think that both pickups sounded better because it has some depth and also has some definition. And for a bass that is not even acoustic, I mean this sound, I think I like it better. It feels better for me. And well, you know, if you like it, there you go. I gave you the secret. You can mix pickups as long as they're very different sounding. They will complement each other. I will do that other video as soon as they call me. I'm gonna go check out those optical pickups. The only thing about the optical that I heard on some demos on YouTube is that you can hear the string, but you cannot hear any body. You know, there's no wood, you know. And with this one, we'll see. So I'll see you around. If you're in Southern California, I play all the time around here at the Lighthouse. I play at the Roscoe's. I play at the Mix. Play at Café Sevilla, and other places, you know. So if you need a band, let me know. If you have, we do everything. We do weddings, birthdays, divorces, anything. Okay, anything that you need music. I've done a memorial at the Wayfarers Chapel where I played a bass solo. It's an elegy by Bottesini. So let me know if you need. Send me a message or call me at 310-387-4611. Okay, I'm not traveling too far unless you pay enough, but otherwise around here I'll be playing all the time. So you're welcome. I'll give you the secret now. I want to hear some other bass players doing solos and not only, accompanying. Okay, take care. I'll see you on the next video.